Hello, can you hear us?
Good afternoon, everybody. Dear Minister Lipavsky, dear Jan, dear Mrs. Padanu, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our reunion. At this session, we will once again focus on analyzing the active diplomatic response of Romania on regional, European, and global scale in order to combat the negative effects of systemic crises such as those prompted by the war against Ukraine. We will also emphasize the need to promote a multi-directional character for foreign policy action. Due to the current accelerated strategic dynamic worldwide, the increased intensity of the geopolitical competition, and the geopolitization of energy resources and the risks to multilateralism and rules-based international order. In this framework, I would like to address special thanks to you, dear Minister Lipavsky, dear Jan, for accepting kindly my invitation to take part in this event, considering in particular your very busy agenda during the Czech presidency of the Council of the European Union. And I recall with great pleasure the substantial and very friendly talks that we enjoyed together during my recent visit to Prague on the 18th of August, which was followed, of course, by the warm welcome that you have extended to me and to all my colleagues during the very recent Gymnich meeting that you hosted also in Prague. On both occasions, our discussions focused on the multidimensional consequences of Russia's illegal military aggression against Ukraine, which has a deep effect on all our policies. And of course, the impact of the Russian aggression in Ukraine also dominates the agenda of the Czech presidency of the Council that is taking place in crucial times for Europe. So I would like to praise you and your colleagues in the Czech government and the Czech Ministry of Foreign Affairs for your intense work so far in this capacity. Solidarity, coordination, and cooperation between EU member states, between allies, are crucial, and our common values are fundamental for our joint approaches. In this context, your participation, dear Jan, in this panel is most timely, considering the current stage in international affairs when we have so many challenges. We must manage all these challenges and find answers of a political, of a diplomatic nature, to what we called systemic changes in the international environment. And the efforts of our law-abiding nations and our encouragement to all others should lead to a new impetus for cooperation as a global level, which in fact is the point of this panel. And Romania, just as the Czech Republic, cherishes the values embraced by and common to all EU and NATO countries. I take this opportunity to recall your political background and expertise in extremely relevant areas such as foreign affairs, national defense, strategic concepts, migration, cyber defense, And at the same time, in your current position as Foreign Minister of the Czech Republic, you have continued to promote in a consistent way the value-based foreign policy defined as the Havel legacy, which we keep in a high regard. We are looking forward to hear your views on these issues, drawing not only from the Czech Republic's history, but also from its continued commitment to peace, to stability, its active support for multilateralism, for defending international law, but also, of course, from the goals of your presidency of the Council of the European Union. So on this note, I invite you, dear Jan, to take the floor, and thank you once again for being with us.
Dear Minister Aurescu, dear Bohdan, thank you very much for inviting me to your session, the highlight of the diplomatic year, I would say. And it is really an honor for me to address you at this traditional event. And it is yet another confirmation of our excellent relations. Bilateral, which we recently sworn again to be very, very strong, or within the EU, NATO, or B9. You know that Romanians and Czechs share many memories and experiences, and our opinions are very often close. And I felt this mutual understanding when talking with you in Prague, and thank you very much also for you attending the Forum for Ukraine, which was conference right after the Givnich, with intent to discuss the future, the European future of Ukraine. And I expect that our like-mindedness will soon result in an expert dialogue on foreign and security policies, which we agreed on during your bilateral visit to me in Prague. Czechia took over its EU presidency during the time of war. We swiftly adapted the presidency to your program, not rejecting the goals already set up, but rather bringing the most urgent ones to the forefront. And I want to talk about these pressing issues, and with your permission, Bogdan, also ask for your engagement. When I was speaking to my ambassadors, when I spoke to my ambassadors, I quoted Václav Havel, and I would like to do same thing right now. And the quote is, "Indifference to others and indifference to the fate of the community is precisely what opens the doors to evil." And my plea is to ask you not to be indifferent and stand against evil. And it is not only Russia trying to dismember the state of Ukraine, it is also about us. It is about everyday work of people and citizens who protect freedom and democracy. And thank you for your kind offer to assist in the endeavors of our Czech presidency to the EU Council. I keep that in mind, and hopefully we will make a good use of it. Maybe a little bit more on on Russia war against Ukraine. Vladimir Putin poses not just an immediate security threat to Ukraine and a broader region of Eastern neighborhood, but also a direct threat to the security of the Euro-Atlantic space, including all EU and NATO states. Russia also challenges the overall rules-based international order and stability in the world. Food and energy supplies have got disrupted, cyber attacks have multiplied, and control regimes of weapons of mass destruction have been blown away basically by Russia. And people are already suffering or worrying that they will suffer. We must provide the Ukrainians with the assistance they need, political, military, including weapons, heavy weapons, humanitarian, consular, diplomatic, economic, and financial help. And should Russia escalate its aggression, our responses must be quick, decisive, but also clever. And the EU is standing up to its leading role in reconstruction to Ukraine, and we have already been doing well on the humanitarian level, and we need to continue in this. And thank you very much. Thank you, Romania, for looking after the refugees temporarily staying in your country, and thank you for all the help you are doing for Ukraine. And I would like to especially appreciate your role and role of your government with the help of export foods, that you were unable to export the Ukraine grain to vulnerable states through different means of transportation. And I believe that the action plan for EU-Ukraine solidarity lanes will facilitate Ukraine's export and trade with the EU. And with Russia, we must prepare for a sustained confrontation in all areas. We need to put continuous pressure, including new sanctions and enforcement of the current ones. We need a strategy making use of a solid and deepened transatlantic bond, reinforced partnership with like-minded countries, and innovative tailor-made policies toward others. With Finland and Sweden joining NATO, Vladimir Putin helped us rethink our strategic security arrangements. It was in June, the Madrid summit provided operational and strategic responses to the new security environment. The NATO strategic concept is sending a clear message to our rivals and competitors. The decision to build a robust and credible deterrence and defense on the eastern flank is critical for containing Russia. And I'm mentioning that because Romania is a critical part of this concept. And I think to make it more strong, we need to work together on EU, NATO, and US strategic unity. With that, we should implement the key goals of the strategic compass, and we hope to have a sharp third EU-NATO declaration on the sidelines of the informal meeting of the European Council in Prague in October. But we must secure sufficient funds and ensure the European Peace Facility flexibility for continuous funding of our military aid to Ukraine. For a proper energy security, we need to achieve the EU strategic autonomy in energy supplies, a very pressing issue. On Friday, we will see how the extraordinary convention of Council on Energy will end up. We need to diversify gas resources, prevent further dependence on imports from authoritarian regime as such, and create conditions for increased exploitation of domestic mineral resources and mitigate the negative social and economic impacts of high energy prices. And not to forget that climate change and green transition goals are very important, and in the end of the day, we need to reach them also. But now we need to basically survive this and few upcoming winters. I would like to have a few points on regional cooperation, neighborhood, and enlargement. I would like to say that I highly value the Bucharest format, the B9. Because of the geographic proximity and shared history, the B9 countries understand Russia and its mindset very well. And our responsibility is to share this knowledge within NATO and the EU. And maybe that's a question for you, Bogdan. With Finland and Sweden being bring into the NATO, is there a place to have maybe something B9? We will be meeting in New York in B9 format. And this was just my immediate idea that maybe there is an open way to discuss, to bring to this platform, at least as a guest to those states, because they share our security concerns, and I'm sure that they would have a added value to our discussion. So a few words also about neighborhood and enlargement. Security in the Black Sea has definitely worsened dramatically, and Moldova and Georgia became extremely vulnerable. We can allow Russia to succeed in the Balkans either. We strongly welcome the candidate status for Moldova, the European path for Georgia, and the accession negotiation finally launched with North Macedonia and Albania. There is no doubt that Russia's intentions with Moldova are malign. And in this regard, Moldova pro-European leadership is basically a blessing and duty at the same time, and we stand ready to help Chișinău as much as possible. And I very much appreciate Romania's important assistance, including the Moldova support platform. And the Moldova is also a priority country for Czech development cooperation, and we are currently, for example, considering how to help Moldovans with the coming winter. We have been doing projects to help with the flow of refugees in the first months of war, and traditionally we are present with development aid in Moldova. And in the Balkans, Bosnia and Herzegovina and Kosovo are now left without any progress on the European track. I think it's risky for the stability of the whole neighborhood. So I am asking all my European colleagues that we need an advance on the visa liberalization for Kosovo. And I think we should give candidate status for Bosnia and Herzegovina. So I know that this is not something where I would need to convince you, but to mutually be working on this issue, I think it's the right time to be at least trying and pressing for that. To conclude, ladies and gentlemen, dear Bohdan, we must be consistent, focused, and patient, so we do not fail in the end of the day. We are facing challenges of two kinds: fatigue on various levels and also appeasement ideas by some politicians. And here comes my last appeal. Please stand against fatigue and appeasement. The EU's unity is the key word. Counted together, member state and the EU institution and the European Union belongs to the strongest player in the world. We have such kind of specific soft power, but the EU is strong and effective only when it's united. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much, dear Jan, for your excellent introduction to this debate, for your insightful presentation. And to answer directly to your question, we have been thinking also about this possibility of inviting both Finland and Sweden as guests to a future benign meeting. And I think it's an excellent idea. I welcome very much your support and proposal in that respect. It means that we are on the same page when thinking strategically, and this speaks volumes about how close Romania and the Czech Republic are when we tackle very important issues related to security and defense of our values and community. And let me invite now the State Advisor Alina Padanu, who is assisting the Romanian Prime Minister, Mr. Nicolae Ciucă, on matters of foreign affairs and European affairs, to take the floor for her intervention on the same topic. Alina, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Minister, for giving me the floor. First and foremost, I would like to welcome the inspirational remarks by Foreign Minister Lipavský. Indeed, indifference opens the door to evil, and I think we should keep this in mind every time when we refer to what is happening and when we assess what is happening in our eastern neighborhood at the borders of the EU and NATO. I take also this opportunity to wish a lot of success to the Czech presidency. There are important decisions to be taken. Only thinking that in a couple of days we will have again important discussions on energy prices and common European solutions to tackle the energy crisis. This is a proof that you have a lot of work ahead of you. There is a long way until the end of December, so best of luck to you and the colleagues in Prague. I salute the colleagues, both at the MFA HQ, but also in the diplomatic missions that are connected to this discussion. I will try to briefly bring to the table a few considerations that I hope will also nourish afterwards the conversation with the participants in this dialogue. I would start with what I think it's a kind of a common ground. We all consider that Russia's war in Ukraine was an accelerator for two developments. It created an almost perfect storm for Europe, and we see this when we look at the soaring energy prices, when we also consider the economic impact, inflation, possible social unrest generated by the economic impact. And in the second place, Russia's war in Ukraine changed the course of development at global level. And as an example, I will refer to the famine. The chief of the World Food Programme very recently recalled that the number of people, of food insecure people, almost doubled between the start of the COVID pandemic and the beginning of the year, and the number is growing every day. And of course, the blockade at the Black Sea of the Ukrainian ports contributed massively to this increased food insecurity. Furthermore, the supply chains that were already destabilized during the COVID pandemic are not on the right track, are not back where they were before the COVID pandemic. The soaring prices of commodities such as fuels or metals or grain are contributing to this situation, which affects not only Europe, it affects each and every region because of the interconnectivity of our global economy. So in these circumstances, the need for multilateral solutions is more important than ever. And we need these solutions not only to prevent further disruptions, but also to maintain the course of commitments undertaken to combat climate change, for example. And to fix the multidimensional crisis, to provide solutions for continuous action on climate change, on sustainable development, we need to work with partners. And of course, for us in the given circumstances, the main partners to try to work and influence more are the countries in Africa, in the Indo-Pacific, and I think the upcoming EU-ASEAN summit is a good opportunity in this respect. We have also a new CELAC meeting coming up, so there are opportunities to outreach and influence and present our arguments, because we are here also in let's say, we face not only a conventional war, but we also face a hybrid war. The narrative that is promoted by Moscow tries to put the blame on our reaction as Europeans. And of course, this type of narrative has to be put in its right place with our arguments, because we have very clear arguments and explanations about the source of the ongoing crisis. And speaking of this cooperation, an important lesson of the COVID pandemic was further confirmed by the crisis in Ukraine. And this is related to strengthening EU's resilience. We have to work on both fronts and strengthen our internal resilience by becoming less dependent, while at the same time creating the right partnership with like-minded actors, state or non-state actors. And just to sum up a bit, aside from the direct impact, the war in Ukraine has come as an unwelcome additional shock to global and national economies. We need to find solutions that will respond to the different situations, but we need also to find the best way to promote our arguments that will convince the ones that are still, let's say, in the what we can call the category of swing states, or even the hedgers. So that's a bit the work that would be taken in order to provide multilateral solutions at a time when multilateralism and rules-based international cooperation are severely challenged. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alina. And without further ado, let's go to the questions and answers session. So we close here the public segment of this plenary. Okay, so the first